Hello, and if you are new to Wild Fox Way, my name is Shanoa Fox, and Wild Fox Way is my online coaching business for women to help you develop confidence and strength with your training and in the gym. So what I want to do in the next few weeks is break down a mobility sequence to help you start to develop more trust in your body, to understand how you're supposed to be moving, and to ultimately start to develop better mobility and better strength within your training. So what we're going to do today is cover wrists and shoulders, and I'm going to take you through what mobility actually is. So when I'm talking about mobility, I'm talking about the range of motion in your joints when you're in an active range, as opposed to flexibility, which is your range of motion in your joint at a passive range. Okay, so let's get started. What we're going to do is come down onto the floor. Now, if you have really tight ankles and you find it really uncomfortable to sit in this position, it's fine to just come up off the feet a little bit, but we do ultimately want to get to a point where you can comfortably sit like this. Then what we're going to do is bring the hands, index finger forwards, spread the fingers really nice and wide, and you're going to bring those fingertips back towards your knees, pressing the palm of your hand down into the floor, trying to edge the heel of your hand all the way down. Okay, and again, if you're struggling here, what you want to do is just bring the hands back slightly. So the further back you come, the easier it's going to be, and the further forward you come, the harder it's going to be. So as you start to develop your range of motion, you'll find you can start to walk the hands forward a little bit more. And then what you can do is start to just build a gentle rock from side to side so that we're hitting all the different angles of the wrists here. I'm just going to come and show you from front on as well. And then the next thing to be aware of is just trying to draw the shoulders back and down. So we want to really try and open up the line of the chest and not get too stuck here. Sometimes if you're really tight through your joints, you may find that you want to round the shoulders. So something to be aware of is just opening up that line. And then if it feels good to do so, the next piece is to lift the head and then curve forwards. So almost like a cat-cow movement, but just very gentle. That should take you about 30 seconds to a minute. And then you're going to gently, gently release the hands off the floor, give them a bit of a shake or a bit of a roll if you're feeling tight. And then we're going to reverse it. So you'll put the back of your hand on the floor this time. So fingertips back towards the knees. This one can feel a little bit trickier, especially if you're someone who works at a desk or just doesn't have a lot of range in your wrists. So take it really slow. What you'll probably find is that when you're starting out, it looks a little bit like this. You have to bend the elbows in order to get the heel of the hand down. That's fine, but over time, I want you to really work on trying to lengthen through the elbow joint and really lengthening all the way up and getting that heel of the hand pressed down. So again, just taking a gentle rock from side to side, pulling the shoulders back and down, and just working through those cat-cows as well. But again, everybody's body is different, so you really need to tune in with what feels good for you. Don't force, don't try and push yourself. Just really work at your capacity and then gently release. And we're going to roll. Okay, second part for the wrists, we're going to build a little bit more dynamic movement into the wrists now. So we're actually going to pop up onto all fours, index finger forwards, spread the fingers wide, and make sure your wrists are stacked right under your shoulders and your knees are stacked right under your hips. From here, we're going to lean the body forward slightly. Keep your belly button drawn up into your spine so your core is active. And then we're going to lift the heel of the hands up and press into the knuckles, lifting the thumbs off the floor. I'm going to do a couple of reps on this angle for you, and then I'll do it front on as well. So again, we're trying not to do this. That's not going to do much. It's not actively loading. You want to stay forwards over the wrists and try and lift both at the same time without bending the elbows. So that's the goal. So if I'm here, leaning forwards, and we're really trying to lift them together at the same time, and then coming down, 3, 2, 1, and pressing up, 3, 2, 1. And that's really going to wake up all the muscles in here and start to actively load the wrists to start to develop your strength through that range of motion. And that is our wrists for today. Next, we're going to go through a couple of shoulder exercises that are really fantastic to start to lubricate the joints and help you get a more active range of motion through the shoulders. So again, we're going to start this one on all fours. So whenever you're doing your mobility work, it's useful to start with the wrists first and to load those up so that when we start to do more active work with the shoulders, you've already got a little bit of warm up through the wrists. Okay, let's do it. Onto all fours. Again, index finger forwards. The reason that we do that is it stops your shoulders from internally rotating. So it puts you in a much stronger and more stable position whenever you're doing shoulder work, whenever you're doing bench presses, any kind of work that requires you to bend and stretch the arms. Try and set yourself in a more open position. You also don't want to go too wide that way. Just a nice neutral index finger or middle finger forwards. Okay, onto all fours, tummy pulled up, and we want to stay active through the non-working shoulder. So we want to try not to sink as we fatigue. You want to press up more through there. So first things first, we're going to bring that front hand forward. You're going to have your thumb angled up towards the ceiling. You're going to lift up as high as you can to the point you can't go any further. When you hit that point, you're going to start to rotate really slowly all the way around. Try and keep that hand nice and high without opening the chest. Keep the shoulder closed. Angling all the way around until your pinky touches the floor with your palm facing away from your body. So we're not here. We've come all the way through, closing off that shoulder. Then we're going to reverse. So you're going to lift all the way up as high as you can, keeping the tummy muscles tight, pushing that floor away, and then we start to rotate all the way forwards until the thumb is facing the ceiling and gently placing it down. So if you're doing this correctly, you should feel that non-working shoulder really starting to work to support. So you'll get a bit of a burn through this shoulder. You'll get a little bit of a burn through this shoulder, trying to keep that elbow locked. And you should feel your core muscles engaging as well. And that is our wrist and shoulder prep for today. Next week, we'll be covering the knees and ankles. So stay tuned for your email, and I will talk to you guys soon.